get started with the evening program. So I first would like to introduce a true YPO legend. He's a member of the Boston, Massachusetts chapter since 1981. He's an American photographer, writer, activist, and philanthropist. With his investment firm, he acquired a Polaroid and brought it to its incredible resurgence. Bobby was a founding chairman for the YPO Peace Action Network. He's an active philanthropist. He helped people in numerous initiatives around the world. NBC actually produced an 8-part primetime television drama called The Philanthropist, based on his life story. He authored a number of books. Several of you will have received it yesterday as a present: The Power of the Invisible Sun and Beyond the Rope, amongst others. His works and literature have reached millions, and his TED Talk, Be Selfish, Go Help Someone, is really something you should watch. Please welcome with me, Bobby Sager. The next person on this panel is an American political activist. Since 2007, she's been the Sam Mancini Keeper Professor in Peace and Social Justice at the Graduate College of Social Work at the University of Houston. She's the founding coordinator of the International Campaign to Ban Landmines. She received, alongside with her organization, the International Committee to Ban Landmines, but in a personal capacity, the Nobel Peace Prize in 1997. Please welcome Jody Williams. Our third panelist started his career as a shipyard electrician at the Lenin shipyards in Gdansk. He was a trade union activist. He became the leader of Solidarność, the trade union which under his reign grew to 10 million members in a country of less than 40 million people. He led Solidarność with the pro-democratic agenda which eventually led to the downfall of the communist rule in Poland in 1989. He became the Nobel Peace Prize winner in 1983. Please welcome to the stage Lech Walesa. Only few words are required now to introduce Lakita, and she is going to be leading tonight our panel discussion. Thank you very much, Lakita. Handing over to you.
Thank you. So, I want to start off with asking all of you how you want to be known or remembered. A lot of people, we all have our own ideas of what we think you're best at or how you're known, maybe even for one thing. How would you like to be known to the world, and for what?
I was really going to say I want to be known as someone that gave a shit and that actually, decided to do something about it. To not just talk about it, but to walk the talk and to maybe provide by example to others the possibilities that individual people can actually make really big impact in the world. The book that some of you got last night, my book Invisible Sun, in it I talk about something that I call concrete baby steps. And the idea is that if I do my concrete baby steps and you do yours and you do yours and we add them all up, that's what really matters. But the math only works if we're all doing it.
So Ukraine and Russia. This is a perfect time. I would love to jump in and get your perspective, the Polish perspective on what's happening and how the heck we got here.
Szanowni Państwo, jak mówiłem, żyjemy w nowej epoce, która zaczęła się, ale jest nieuprzyrządowana.
Ladies and gentlemen, as I already mentioned, we live in a new epoch that has already started, but that is not entirely prepared yet.
Dziś Stany Zjednoczone powinny, moim zdaniem, organizować świat cały, nie załatwiać za świat, tylko organizować do tych wielkich problemów, które stanęły przed nami.
I think that the US should now organize the world so that it is ready to face the problems of today.
Jedna droga, pomóc, bo tam ich mordują i głodzą. Musimy pomóc, żeby zachować ten naród.
First of all, we have to help because they're being murdered, and we have to help them so that the nation can be saved.
A druga droga, zrobić porządek z Rosją.
And the second thing is to establish an order with Russia.
Nie może być taki system demokratyczny, który pozwala, aby jeden człowiek mógł zagrozić całemu światu. Nie może być więcej jak 2 kadencje na tym stanowisku.
There can't be a democratic system that allows for just one person to endanger the entire world. It has to be 2 turns of 2 times in the president's office, and that's it.
Musimy przekonać szczególnie Rosjan i innych, że to dla bezpieczeństwa Rosji jest potrzeba zmiana systemu politycznego.
And we have to convince the Russians and others that the change of the political system is very important also for their own safety.
I druga możliwość, to Rosja składa się z ponad 60 takich narodów jak Ukraina.
And the second approach, Russia consists of 60 nations, similarly to the one like Ukraine.
Te narody zostały podbite krwią, wykończono kadrę w tych narodach. Teraz trzeba by było pomóc im odbudować się, aby powstały te narody.
And these nations were succumbed to become one part of Russia. There was blood involved, and they have to be helped to re-establish themselves now.
Bo jeśli tylko pomożemy przetrwać Ukrainie, to za 5 lat, za 10 będzie następny Putin przy tym systemie i znów będziemy musieli robić to samo, co teraz.
Because if we only help Ukraine now, then in 5 or 10 years we will have exactly the same thing. We'll have another guy like Putin, and we'll have to fight again for peace.
Ja chciałem porządek zrobić z Rosją już przy mojej rewolucji, ale Stany Zjednoczone udowodniły mi, że nie wolno w tym momencie tego robić.
I already wanted to also deal with Russia when my revolution took place, but the US made me understand that it wasn't the right time for it.
30 lat przesunęliśmy się w czasie, dziś można to zrobić, tylko Stany Zjednoczone muszą zorganizować świat i poprowadzić, abyśmy zrobili porządek z Rosją.
30 years later, now I think it is time and it is possible, but it has to be the US that is going to take up this organizational leadership position and will lead the world in the right direction.
Lepszej okazji nie będziemy mieć. Putin popełnił straszliwy błąd i możemy to wykorzystać.
We won't have a better occasion. I think Putin committed a tremendous mistake and we should be able to use it now.
Born and raised in the United States. I think that it is interesting that the view of the United States still holds that it is a magnificent place that is capable of leading the world. Having fought my country since Vietnam for its multiple wars of intervention, I do not share the view of the peaceful United States. It blows my mind that the American people believes my country is a country of peace. At this point in time, my country is falling apart. Democracy in the United States of America is falling apart. And if people think the mythology of the great democracy exists now, I don't know what you're reading. The conservative elements of the United States of America are taking away Voting Rights Act. They are making it so that people of color have to jump through 7,000 hoops in order to vote. They are taking away a woman's choice about what we can do with our own bodies. And if my country doesn't, the people of my country don't get up off our collective seats and take action, we will continue down the road to authoritarianism. I'd like to hear what you have to say about it personally, since you're an American.
Yes.
Okay, so
I couldn't agree more that we're fast approaching the edge of a cliff, and it's not a theoretical discussion. It's not a theoretical exercise. And the point that I wanted to make is, what are we as YPOers? What are we as business leaders? What do we do? What do we do with that? This certainly cannot be a spectator sport. We simply have to stand up to be counted, and there's lots of ways to do that. But when our kids ask us, and they will, what did you do? What did you actually do? Not that you said, "Oh, that's terrible," or "I disagree." But what did you actually do when the chips were down? And we all need to have a really great answer to that question.
yes,
Szanowni Państwo, mam minutkę. No jeśli nie Stany Zjednoczone, no to kto? To po pierwsze.
Ladies and gentlemen, just 1 minute. So if not the US, then who?
Moim zdaniem Europę powinny porządkować Niemcy, bo są najbardziej przygotowani, a świat powinny pod przewodem Stanów Zjednoczonych. Jeśli pani ma mądrzejsze, to proszę uprzejmie.
I think that in Europe, Germany is designated to have this leadership position. It's prepared for it. And in terms of organizing the entire world, I think it should be the US. Do you have another vision of this?
okay. So let's do one response, because I want to get to some practical things that we can actually all do, but this is too good not to allow you to respond. Jody.
Świat się pali, tu trzeba
Now, wait a
działać.
minute, I'm talking.
The world is burning, we have to act.
My God, people. If we do not look toward a different form and structure of governance in this world and rely on one country, we really are crazy. My country, as I have said, is no Mother Teresa. We need to rebuild global governance. We need to reform the UN or get rid of it altogether and start a new body that is reflective of today's world, not the end of World War II. We need to strengthen. If everybody's strong, we're all strong. If we look to one leader, we get authoritarianism sometimes. I think if we're really moving into a new epoch, the new epoch cannot be built on the old. We need serious, systemic change.
Yeah, well, that's not going to come right now in this conversation. I feel like this is such a big conversation when we talk about the U.S. This comes up a lot, and if you listen to Jody, it's like someone is drowning, and then that one big power that's drowning is expected to do all. Of course, that makes sense. I mean, if it's not the U.S., then who? I get that, but what you're saying makes a lot of sense to me. How are things going to change? Bobby.
By the way, I also want to say, Ma, I'm sitting on a stage with 2 Nobel Peace Prize winners. My God. What? Wait, what? Just to follow up on what I was saying about us as YPOers, you know, I used to say to people, think about who the world's greatest living leader is, and back then the sort of obvious answer was Nelson Mandela. But my real point of asking that question was, okay, Nelson Mandela, of course, but who's second on the list, and who's third, and who's fourth, and who's 15th? And the point that I'm trying to make from before is, my point of view is, we're the list. We're the list. People like us with the resources and the ability, we know how to hold people accountable. We know how to do deals. We know how to use it, one of your terms, get shit done. We can play a role in this. We don't have to. When the question was asked before, you know, what's the biggest impediment to peace? My answer would be politicians. But unfortunately, we as business leaders can't make peace. That's not what we do. That's not the job description. But we can create an environment where peace is more likely, and we can create an environment where peace is more sustainable. I think that the most important thing I'd have to say tonight in this august company is, please think about the fact that we're the list, and find your own concrete baby steps to make your contribution. I think in general, we as leaders need to sort of seek out insight about what's going on in the world, wherever we get it, whether we get it from the Peace Action Network or whether we get it from reading a newspaper that we wouldn't ordinarily read, or however we come on refined data and information, and then take the insights that we get from that into our spheres of influence, into our families, into our businesses, into our local communities, and in a lot of cases with the people in this room, into the world community. So our obligation is to leave here and this week spend more time than we've been spending trying to get a little bit smarter, and it's difficult because there's such bad information out there, and fake videos, and various networks and so forth. So we need to work harder at it. We need to be smarter, and we need to take those insights into the world. Those are specific, concrete baby steps that we can do starting tonight. I mean, I should be giving him the last word, but I want to mention one other thing about peace and conflict and a role that we could play. A fellow YPO did a TED Talk that's titled, "The worst four-letter word in the English language is them." And there's too much of the us and them. So somebody told me that we humans are 97% genetically identical to mountain gorillas. And yet we keep on creating this us and them. So anything that we can do to fight the us and them as business leaders would be something that would be very positive, very constructive, right at the middle of what the fundamental issue is.
I'm sure that there are some questions, so come on up.
If you will sit close to the Putin, what's the message you will deliver to him? It's first, and the second one, the same one to the Biden, please.
Okay, what message would you deliver? One is to Putin, two is to Biden.
Oczywiście Bidenowi naprawdę zorganizować świat, abyśmy te dwa zagadnienia uporządkowali.
To Biden, please organize the world so that we don't have to deal with these two huge problems that we're dealing with right now.
Putin, idź do lekarza, bo ty zdrowy nie jesteś.
Putin, please go and see a doctor because you're clearly not healthy.
I think I would say to Biden, please get a better team around you. This ain't it. Like when we were supporting you and voting for you, we thought there would be an unbelievable AAA team around you, and that's what was going to make the whole thing work. And I'm sorry, Mr. President, but it ain't there.
Truth.
And you know, to Putin, I could only be angry. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something I could say that maybe somehow would have some effect, but since I don't think that it would, I'd be left with just saying, fuck you.
I don't have to say anything because I agree with fuck you. And I agree that Biden has messed up big time.
Okay, Bobby, go ahead.
I guess this would be my last line to leave you with. It's a little poem I just composed. Roses are red, violets are blue. The world's fucked up, so now it comes down to all of you.